Hi there, this is Caitlin, and this is my channel, Bandy's Books, and we are here for my Sunday weekly update. I do this every week just to kind of touch base on what's going on with my channel, what's going on with my reading, what I'm planning to read, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's what we're here to do today. Pretty straightforward. So this week has been pretty good so far. A little bit hectic. If you follow my community posts, you'll know that we just rescued a kitten last week. Literally, I think Sunday last week. So it's been a full week now. And we basically found her in the hood of my neighbor's car. We heard crying when we came home and like dug her out of the engine. And we've had her because unfortunately, shelters will not take stray kittens. And the mama wasn't taking her, and we didn't really have anywhere to take her. So we're taking care of her. We can't keep her long term. We have a small apartment with Luna here. It's already enough without having a kitten too. So we've arranged for some friends to take her. I have two really good friends who are looking for a new kitten. And so they'll take her from there. And they've decided to name her Domino. So we've been calling her Oreo because she's all black with just like a white stripe from her forehead all the way down her belly, which I think is super cute. So yeah, she'll be named Domino. She's going to stay with us through June because I'm bottle feeding her. And then we're actually already starting to wean her, but it takes a few weeks for them to wean all the way. So once the weaning process is complete, then she will be able to go to her forever home. And so we're very happy about that. It's nice that, we were able to find a good home for her. So that's really all that's exciting here. She's been keeping us really, really busy. Baby kittens, like if you've never rescued a baby kitten, they feed like it's like having like a regular baby. You have to bottle feed them initially like every 3 hours, every 4 hours. And then as they grow, you can space it out a little bit more. So when we first got her, we thought she was somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks. And kittens move really rapidly in like the first 8 weeks of their lives. So now she's somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks. And this is kind of typically the time when their teeth start to grow in. So we've noticed that the last couple of days she's been a little cranky and she's been biting and like nibbling on our hands and toys and things a lot, which usually means that they're trying to soothe the irritated gums. It's that like teething phase. So she's doing that. And usually when you start teething, or when they start teething, is also when you can start introducing a little bit of wet food. So what we do is make like a little gruel. We get a little tiny bit of kitten food and we mix it with some of the milk that she's been drinking. And then you put it on a little dish and you put them in like a cozy little bundle with a towel and you kind of let them experiment. So she's doing good. She actually will eat a couple little bites here and there, and then she just wants to walk through the rest of it. So it's a messy process. She ends up covered in food every time. But it's going good. I'm glad to see her taking to the wet food pretty well. Today we have some stuff coming in. I actually have to run to our package room after this. I got like a whole little kitty tunnel set up. So it's got like one main area for her to hang out and then a bunch of offshooting tunnels with little rooms at the end. So you can put toys and different things in there. And then I can set her on the floor to let her play and burn off some energy. Last week, when she wasn't moving as much, we have her in like because we had nothing for a cat, we just got a big cardboard box and, put some blankets in there and a heating pad on the bottom and toys and stuff. And she's quickly outgrowing that. So now she has more energy and she needs to be out, but she's very small. And Luna's really gentle with her. But like when Luna gets excited and playing and everything, I'm worried that she'll get stepped on maybe. So I feel like if we have this enclosure for her to run around in, hopefully that'll help. So both Domino, aka Oreo, and Luna have some toys waiting. And then this enclosure for Domino to play in. So Domino is what the family that's adopting her has chosen to call her. I thought Oreo was really cute, but it's not my long-term cat. So alrighty, that's really all that's going on in my world, though. I'm mostly just here with the dog and cat every single day as I'm still at home recovering. I had my 2 follow-up appointments this week. I guess that's kind of exciting. I had my OBGYN follow-up on Tuesday and my diaphragmatic specialist on Wednesday. Both of them are really pleased with how healing is going so far. It was kind of cool. My doctor showed me the images from the surgery, so I got to actually see like the endometriosis growing in the different organs. I did have endometriosis on my kidney, which is really, really rare. So 1 in 8 women roughly have endometriosis. Of that, 4% get it on their diaphragm, which I already had it on my diaphragm, so already a fairly rare presentation. And then it ended up showing up on my kidney as well, which we didn't know. Nobody was expecting kidney endometriosis. I think that's like 1% of women get kidney endometriosis. And so the good news is that both of the doctors that were performing the surgery had residents with them as well, which means that they're in training. And so it's good because both doctors got to see kidney endometriosis and then both residents got to see it. And so that's a great learning process for them. So I guess if I have to go through all of this, I'm glad that, you know, the next generation of doctors got to learn something out of it. But yeah, everybody says that I'm healing really well. I'm up moving around. I'm not like hunched over or in pain or anything. They just keep reminding me to keep taking it easy. I've got probably another week or so before the main incision is like completely solid enough for me to really get up and start moving. But at the 4-week mark, I am allowed to start incorporating some very light exercise. And then July 1st, I will have my next appointment, and that will give me an idea if I'm ready to return to work or not. Hopefully, fingers crossed that I'll be able to go back to work at that point, because I kind of really will need to go back to work at that point. But yeah, all positive. So that's everything with the life updates right now. Let's see, June, super exciting. I love June. I talk about this in my TBR video, which will be posting soon, but there's Pride Month, there's June on the Range, there's now a historical fiction readathon hosted by Shellyish. So many different wonderful things that I want to read for. Sue Jackson is also hosting like a big Books of Summer readathon. Like and it's hard because I want to do all the things. I have no chill in picking out TBRs or trying to like set goals for myself. And so, of course, as per usual, I've picked out way too many books. And I want to participate in all the things. So June is also my birthday month. June 21st is my birthday, which is exciting. We're going to probably take a trip home to San Diego like mid-month just to spend some time with my family and my friends and have like a little birthday celebration. But yeah, so I kind of look forward to June because this is usually one of my best reading months of the year. It's one of the TBRs that I really look forward to. And I think I have a really great selection of books picked out. So let's get into channel updates. So I have the whole month of June off. I have a ton of videos planned. I have a bunch of stuff that's already shot. I'm just sitting and editing it. So I'm going to have a lot that's coming up in the next few days. So tonight, my TBR video will go up. I meant to get that up last night, and I actually edited the whole thing last night. And then the application that I use to edit my videos, I don't know why. So it has this like silence detection thing where you can take a whole video clip and you can put it in silence detection and it cuts out all the silences. And then you click like finish and save, and it saves all of those segments that it's cut for you. And so I went through and I like edited everything and did all this work, probably spent like 30 or 40 minutes editing the last clip of the video. I'd already been editing for like 2.5 hours by this point. And I was on the last like 30 minutes of editing. I did all the work. I clicked finish. And then that whole 30-minute section, it didn't save any of the edits. So I lost like a huge chunk of work. And by then it was close to midnight. We were all exhausted. And I was like, you know what? I just need to close it and restart tomorrow. Hey, Brian, how are you doing? So I am going to put up the TBR tonight instead. So sorry that it's a day late. I intended for it to be on the 1st, but you know, I wasn't going to stay up till 2 or 3 last night trying to finish it. It just ended up being so long that the editing, you know, spiraled. So that'll be up tonight. Tomorrow I will have up my wrap up for May. I have that shot, just need to edit. Tuesday, I'm looking at doing the this or that tag. Melinda over at A Web of Stories tagged me in it. So I'm hoping to get to that. Doing pretty well, hanging in there, just chilling, recovering, raising a cat, taking it easy, trying to set realistic goals, which seems like an impossible task. And then after the this or that tag, I have 2 of the Women's Prize shortlist reviews. I'm going to be reviewing Enter Ghost and River East, River West, both of which were very interesting books for me, but for very different reasons. And then I have the July Book of the Month predictions video will be coming out towards the end of the week. My favorite video of the month to make, just because I get to delve into all the new releases and try to think of, you know, what different book clubs are going to feature. And then Saturday, I have the surprise video. So I'm excited about that, bringing back something that I get requests for every once in a while. And yeah, this time off has been productive in that it's allowing me to get to some things that, I don't always get to when I'm working. So hopefully that'll be exciting when that comes up. I'm also doing reading sprints Monday morning at 9 a.m. and Friday at 2 p.m. Both of those are on Pacific Standard Time. So if you would like to make some progress on the books that you're reading, feel free to come and hang out. I'm really low key on my reading sprints. I pretty much just do them in silence. Like I don't play background music. There's no distractions. And I set a timer for 15 minutes, read, chat for 5 minutes, read for 15, et cetera, et cetera. Just because for me, like having music playing and stuff is distracting and whatnot. So super low key. And then I'll have my weekly wrap up on Sunday next week as well. So what I have read in the past week. So I was working on Everything Calls for Salvation by Daniele Mencarelli. This was what I was reading during my reading sprints, and I'm glad. This was a really good book. It's very short, and it is about Daniele. It's like autofiction. So Daniele wakes up in a mental institution in Italy, and he sort of vaguely remembers what happened, but not quite everything. And we don't, as a reader, know everything immediately. And most of this book is just his observations being in this mental institution, his feelings about being stuck there, his feelings about the people that he is like forced to live with. He's on a 7-day mental health hold. And so it's just kind of an immersion in this psychiatric facility and his experiences with his mental health professionals and all of that. Really well written book. This is very straightforward and simple prose. It's not very flowery or overdone. It's just a really direct narrative. But I think that that's kind of powerful in this particular setting. I don't think that it needed any more prosiness or any more description than is given. With that simple, straightforward narrative, I just had a really clear picture of what was going on around him and all of that. So I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that I ended up picking this up. This was the last book that I finished for May, and it was for Mental Health May. So good one. And last week, I kind of already talked about this, but I wasn't quite finished with it yet. So I did finish While You Were Out by Meg Kissinger. This is an intimate family portrait of mental illness in an era of silence. So Meg is talking about her family. There's 8 siblings and her parents, and mental health issues are very predominant throughout the whole family. Her parents suffer with mental health issues. All of her siblings suffer with mental health issues, and several of her siblings end up committing. They kill themselves. And it's kind of this look at not specifically just like depression and mental health issues, but also how silence affects it. One of the big things in her family and in the generation that she kind of grew up in, it is this silence, this stoicism. Like you don't talk about your tragedies, you don't air out your personal business, you don't discuss like those sorts of things. Like her parents viewed it as embarrassing that their children were suffering, and they basically made up stories to cover what had happened. And so this is kind of a reflection on that and how that unwillingness to speak on it kind of hinders her family and her family's ability to grow and heal, and how being more open about these struggles might have actually saved the siblings that did end up killing themselves. I thought this was really well written, a fantastic memoir. It's really sad. It's definitely a difficult subject, but it is written in a way that is very readable. I didn't feel overwhelmingly depressed after reading it. I felt sorry for her family and sorry for her siblings that were really suffering, but I also appreciated her willingness to speak on it. And I agree that, talking helps kind of get rid of that shame and stigma. So if you're interested in that particular subject, this is a really good book. And then I have 2 books that I finished up for the BookTube Prize. So I have been doing each round of the BookTube Prize. So the first round, the Octo Finals, I read nonfiction. The second round, I got fiction. And then I just got my assignment for the third round yesterday. And so I'm back to nonfiction this round, which is kind of cool with me. I actually had a goal of reading more nonfiction, and so that's been really helpful in that goal. But now that the second round is over, the fiction round, I can tell you the last 2 books that I was reading. So I finished Blackouts by Justin Torres, and then I finished Northwoods by Daniel Mason. This round was a little tough for me. I really like reading fiction, and I thought that I would really like a lot of the books that were in my round. And it ended up being kind of slow and kind of boring. A lot of the books were struggles for me to get through. I'm going to do a full video on all 6 of the books that I was assigned. But I will say that Blackouts was really interesting in terms of formatting. So you have this book where you get like pages like this, where half of it's blacked out. You get pictures and things that are added in. There's just a lot going on. It is a cool effect. I think that Justin Torres did something really unique with this book. I don't know if it's like the most accessible read. I, again, really appreciated it for what it was, but it was kind of a mid-range book for me in terms of the 6 that I was reading. And then Northwoods by Daniel Mason. I really wanted to love this. This is such a cool cover. I know a lot of people are really, really enjoying it. For me, it was a little slow. I appreciated all of the connected short stories and like how they kind of go together. But I don't know. I wanted something more to happen than happened with this, and it just never really picked up all that much. I don't know. Maybe I missed something on it, but for me, this one was at the bottom of the batch. I think that you'll probably have the same response that I had. Its formatting is super interesting. It says some really interesting things, but it's not the easiest read. I always find that when there's like an experimental format, that a lot of the times it kind of affects the readability of the book. So that was my experience with it. And I think I've heard that comment quite a bit, that people found it a little bit more difficult to read because you're dealing with all the blacked out stuff. And I don't know, it's still a really interesting book. I think it's worth reading, but for sure it's just a little different. And then I started Feed Them Silence by Lee Mandello. So this is on my TBR for Pride Month. Let's see. I had a similar reaction to Northwoods as you. Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen a few reviews from some of the channels that I watch regularly that kind of all have the same reaction, where like, it's cool that the short stories are connected, but kind of boring. Maybe not the most exciting read. So I'm not alone there, at least, but it is interesting. I have seen a lot of really positive reviews of it too. And so I'm wondering what I missed that was, made it so amazing for different people. So Feed Them Silence. This is the first book I picked up off of my June TBR. So this is one of the reads I have for Pride Month. Lee Mandello is a trans author. I found this book in December. I went home to San Diego and I did this like indie bookstore crawl. And I found a really great shelf of queer horror. And this was one of the books that was on there. And it sounded really interesting. So this is about a doctor who is experimenting with wolves. She's using a neurological interface to translate her animal subject's perception through her own mind. It's interesting talking about like the identity, the human identity and the wolf identity, and like how those two things merge. I'm really enjoying this so far. You can see it's a very short read. So I'm almost finished. I picked it up yesterday. Probably tonight I will sit down and read the rest of it. I am hoping that it's going to finish as good as it started, because I'm really invested in it. And good start so far. I have an ebook of Blackouts, and I'm worried that the format won't work in that format. Yeah, that might be tricky. Honestly, I would probably recommend seeing if you could get it from your like local library. If anything, maybe, well, I mean, you could flip through it and see, but because the pages are so much smaller on an ebook, I wonder if it's going to make it really hard to read. I don't know. I would think it would probably be better in book format. So after Feed Them Silence, some of the other books I'm hoping to get to. I have this book called Fat Ham by James E. James. And this is a queer Southern retelling of Hamlet by Shakespeare. So I haven't really delved into the world of Shakespeare retellings at all. I'm not like a super huge Shakespeare fan. It's not like I hate him. I've seen actually quite a few of his plays. I saw Caesar in Central Park in New York. They do Shakespeare on the Park, which was really cool. I got to see a Shakespeare play in London in the famous like outdoor theater. I forget what it's called. I've seen a few plays over the years, but as far as like sitting down to read them, it gives me flashbacks of school, and I haven't had the best time with that. So I haven't picked up like a ton of retellings, especially when they're written in like play format. However, my favorite bookstore in San Diego recommended this to me. They said that it was really good, really interesting. It's also a pretty short read. I think it comes in at like 150 pages. Yep. And I'm curious to see what a queer Southern retelling of Hamlet looks like. So hopefully this will be an enjoyable one. And then my most exciting book for the month. This is, I think, the book that I am most looking forward to for June. Have Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I hear nothing but rave reviews about this book. It is a collection of short stories. I can't say that I seriously ever heard one bad review on this. I've been wanting to read it for the longest time. And then I finally found a copy of it in a bookstore in New Mexico. And I was like, I got to get it. I don't even usually buy paperbacks, like if I can avoid it. And I just was like, I want to read this so bad. Let me get it. So this is my most anticipated read for the month. I'm really looking forward to it. I also have her other book, In the Dream House, on my audiobook list if I have time to get to it. So I'm hoping that this is going to really work for me. I've been on a short story kick for like maybe the last year and a half. I've read some really, really fantastic short story collections. So I'm hoping that this will be another really strong collection to add. And then I am participating in Shelley Swearengen's Read Historical Fiction Readathon for 2024, which is going on in June as well. And I am going to try to read a book for each of the different prompts that she's providing. So one of the prompts is to read a historical fiction book that is set in a country that's different than your own. So this book has been on my shelves for the longest. I hear nothing but rave reviews about it from lots of people that I trust, people that I have similar tastes to. I've put it on my TBR multiple different times, and for whatever reason, I keep not getting to it, and that's Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. So that's going to be my book for that prompt. I am determined to get to it. So hopefully this week I will get a chance to sit down and read some of it. We have a pretty chill week here. Not a lot going on. Again, I'm still home recovering. So I'm hoping that between these handful of little short books and then this one, I should be able to get to all that. So I think that is everything in terms of updates. We talked about what's going on here, which, long story short, is not much. I'm just laying around, resting, recovering, raising kittens. And we've talked about the channel, what's coming in this week. It is some big videos this week. You know, the TBR is a long video. The wrap-up video is a long video. And the book of the month video is a longer video. So I tried to intersperse that with some things that are a little shorter, a little easier to digest. But I'm really looking forward to it. I've been having a lot of fun getting videos up over the last week. Honestly, if I didn't work a regular job, I would try to post a video every single day. I have ideas. I have lists and lists of ideas. In fact, let's see. This whole stack right here is stuff that I want to shoot, posting schedules, to-dos, all sorts of stuff just for YouTube. So if I had all the time in the world, I would continue to post every single day. But I don't usually get to do that. I have to kind of pick and choose which videos, make the most sense. But since I don't have anything going on through June, my goal is to try to post as much as possible. And that way, when I have to go back to work in July, maybe, I'll drop back down a little bit to a more realistic posting schedule. But at least I get a month to try to get out as much as possible. Resting and recovering are good things. Enjoy the time. Yeah, it's one of those things that's super hard for me. This is the third time I've been through surgery. So when I was in my early 20s, I broke my right knee into 13 pieces and disconnected the tendon that runs from knee to ankle on both ends. Oz, can you grab me my computer charger? Sorry, my computer is about to die. So I broke my knee into 13 pieces on both ends and had to have major reconstructive surgery. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then it took 3 months afterwards of no walking and no exercising and anything, and then another 3 months of rehab to get back to normal. And then in 2019, I had 2 massive ovarian cysts that had to be removed and resulted in this diagnosis of endometriosis and whatnot. And that was a leave the hospital same day, but then spend the next couple weeks recovering. And now I'm going through this, which is like a 2-month recovery. And every time I found what happens is that I tend to recover really well from surgery. I usually recover faster than the doctors expect. I usually beat all of the statistics around the surgeries, which is great. But it's hard because I know what I feel like, and then I have to try to convince my doctors that, yes, I am good to start moving things along. And most of the time that works. With my knee, I never had any physical therapy. I did all the rehab on my own. My doctor was really good at listening to what I was saying and then helping me to balance that and find ways to get active and move around. But in the case of this surgery, there's such a high risk of damage that there's just no negotiating it. I'm not allowed to do anything active for like basically a month. And I am 100 miles an hour all the time. I work a physically demanding job. I'm on my feet. I have a dog that requires 3 walks a day. I hike, I camp, I go to the gym, we rock climb. Like, I am very, very active. And so, unfortunately, when I get in these scenarios where I need to rest and recover, it's really hard for me. I get super, super antsy. I just want to do all the things. And, I can't. So, yes, the resting and recovering are good things. And I know that I need them, but it's like psychologically really hard for me. I'm really looking forward to getting to the end of this week, because at least at the end of this week, then I will be able to start very light workouts, maybe some yoga, maybe some walking a little bit more, maybe, like very light weights and things like that. But yeah, it is what it is. It has to be done. So it's non-negotiable either way. So that's the end of this video. I think I don't really have much else to talk about. Like I said, not much exciting happening going on here. Thank you everybody that stopped in and chatted and watched the video. And I will see you later in this week. We've got lots going on. So, keep your eyes peeled. I hope that you all have a wonderful end to your Sunday and that next week is a really good week for you. I hope that it is, full of good books, good food, good friends, and very limited stress. So thanks for joining. I hope the time goes quickly then. Yeah, me too. It's not going too bad. I'm keeping myself busy. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.